Las Vegas wasn't supposed to feel like this. It wasn't supposed to feel tired, stretched, or uncertain. But in 2026, you can hear something in the voices of tourists, something almost never heard here before. It's hesitation. Doubt. A quiet realization that the magic is slipping. And for the first time in decades, people who once dreamed of touching the bright lights of the Strip are now stepping off the plane and saying, "I think this might be my last trip." What's happening inside America's entertainment capital is not just a slowdown, it's a shift. A psychological one. An economic one. And if you listen closely to the tourists themselves, the warnings are clear. They're not quitting Vegas because it lost its casinos, shows, or energy. They're quitting because everything around those things has changed so much that the old Vegas, fun, affordable, electric, no longer exists. And the new Vegas feels like a place built for someone else. Tourists walking down the Strip say the same thing without knowing each other. A couple from Texas says the hotel they stayed in last year for $89 now costs $249 without counting the extras. A group of friends from California says they don't even gamble anymore because the tables are too expensive to enjoy. A family from the UK says they spent more on water and snacks than on one of the world-famous shows they came to watch. And a man from Chicago quietly admits that he used to come to Vegas to escape his problems. But now, Vegas feels like one of them. These are not dramatic, exaggerated claims. These are real moments from real visitors who came for excitement and instead found themselves shocked by what Vegas has turned into. The first reason people say they're quitting Vegas is simple: the cost is no longer fun. In 2026, tourists don't describe prices as higher. They describe them as unreasonable. A cup of coffee that used to cost $4 now feels like it's priced for a luxury hotel in Dubai. A basic breakfast can cross $50 before you blink. Resort fees add more than $40 or $50 a night. Parking, which was once proudly free across the city, now quietly drains visitors before they even step out of their car. And the blackjack tables that were famously accessible for the average traveler now start at $25 or even $50 minimums, turning casual players into spectators. Tourists say Vegas didn't just become expensive, it became confusing. Every price tag feels like it has a hidden layer behind it, and every bill feels like a surprise waiting to happen. And instead of laughing the cost off like they used to, people now walk away frustrated. The second reason tourists say they're quitting Vegas is because the experience feels different. Not bad, just different in a way they can't fully place. The Strip is louder but less joyful. Bigger but less personal. There's more to do than ever, but somehow less of what made people fall in love with the city in the first place. Visitors say the shows feel shorter, the service feels rushed, and the old sense of hospitality, the one thing Vegas was famous for worldwide, feels thinner than it should. People aren't blaming workers. They're blaming the pressure on workers. The pressure to serve more people, faster, for less. The pressure created by automation, corporate policies, and thinning staff. Many tourists quietly say the same haunting sentence: it feels like Vegas is serving investors, not visitors. The third reason is the crowds. Not just big crowds, overwhelming ones. Vegas broke multiple tourism records between 2024 and 2026, but many visitors say the growth stopped being exciting and started becoming stressful. Packed sidewalks turned simple walks into slow-moving traffic jams. Hotel lobbies feel like airports. Casinos feel like clubs. And restaurants are booked out at times that used to be wide open. The problem isn't that Vegas is busy, it's that the city's infrastructure wasn't designed for this level of massive, non-stop volume. Tourists who used to come to relax now say it feels like they're fighting for space, for tables, for peace. People say they don't want to spend thousands of dollars to feel boxed in. The fourth reason is something most outsiders don't see until they arrive. The Strip feels like its own world, but the areas around it are changing in ways that make tourists uneasy. Rising homelessness, public disturbances, and visible economic struggle have become more common. Tourists say they feel the contrast like a shock, the glittering billion-dollar resorts next to streets where people are suffering. It creates an emotional whiplash that makes visitors uncomfortable. Not angry, just sad. And when people feel emotional heaviness in a place they came to escape to, they don't return. The fifth reason, surprisingly, comes from international travelers. Europeans, Canadians, Australians, they once saw Vegas as a uniquely American adventure. But now, many say currency exchange rates, added travel costs, and the rising price of everything inside Vegas makes the trip feel more like a luxury than a vacation. For the same price, they can visit Japan, Greece, Thailand, or Dubai. And many say those places feel safer, cleaner, and more culturally immersive. Vegas used to be the dream trip. Now, for many, it's the maybe next time trip. But the sixth reason is the one tourists talk about most emotionally: the magic feels harder to find. Not gone, just buried. The feeling of stepping into a casino and believing anything was possible. The feeling of being able to have fun without thinking about money. The feeling of being treated like a guest, not a customer on a timer. These were the things that made Vegas legendary. The city wasn't famous because of the lights. It was famous because of how those lights made people feel. Today, tourists say those feelings are becoming rare. Not impossible, just rare enough that the city feels less like a dream and more like a business model. And yet, something deeper is happening underneath all of this. Something most tourists don't say out loud, but their comments reveal. They're not quitting Vegas because they dislike it. They're quitting because Vegas is changing faster than they can keep up with. The city is evolving into a luxury, high-spend destination. That strategy works for some people. But for millions of regular travelers who once formed the backbone of Vegas tourism, it feels like the door is slowly closing. A bartender puts it this way: Vegas wants whales. But whales don't come every weekend. Regular people do. A taxi driver says, the rich want private rooms. They don't walk the strip. But tourists do. And a longtime dealer whispers, if the middle class stops coming, the strip collapses. That's the truth no one here wants to say out loud. Tourists sense this tension. They can feel that the Vegas they grew up with, the Vegas built on accessible fun, is being replaced with a Vegas built for maximum extraction. The result is emotional. People feel like they're losing something that mattered to them. A tradition. A memory. A place where they once felt freedom. That emotional shift is the real reason people say they're quitting Vegas. Not the prices. Not the crowds. Not the changes. It's the feeling of loss. The feeling that something they loved is slipping away. And people don't want to watch something they love turn into something they don't recognize. Yet here is the twist almost no one sees coming. Behind every complaint is a confession. People say they're quitting Vegas, but they aren't quitting because they hate it. They're quitting because they're hoping Vegas will wake up. Hoping the city will return to balance. Hoping someone will listen. And hoping that maybe, just maybe, the Vegas of 2026 is a phase, not a destination. The truth is simple: Vegas is not collapsing. But it is transforming. And that transformation is reshaping who visits, why they visit, and how often they return. Some tourists will stop coming. Some will come less. Some will shift to cheaper alternatives. And some will stay loyal no matter what. But every voice saying, "I'm not coming back," sends the same warning: the emotional contract between Vegas and its visitors is breaking. And no city can afford to lose that connection, not even the entertainment capital of the world. Because when tourists stop believing in a city, the city loses something much harder to replace than revenue. It loses trust. And in 2026, the tourists who once kept Vegas alive are quietly saying, "We're not leaving forever." But something needs to change. Vegas can still rewrite the story. The question is whether it wants to. And as always, if you want more deep dives like this, more economic storytelling, and more cinematic breakdowns of the places shaping the world, even the ones that look like they never change, then make sure you subscribe to Economic Vayogas. Your support lets us tell the stories no one else is talking about.